Welcome back to Turning Hard Times into Good Times. I'm your host, Jay Taylor, and I'm really glad to have with me for the first time Gianni Kovacevic. Gianni is a Canadian-Croatian investor in natural resources and an established author. He's written a very interesting book that I have in front of me here. It's got, I think, one of the most interesting the titles. My Electrician Drives a Porsche. I don't know many people who drive Porsches at all, and I don't know of any electricians who drive Porsches. So it's a very interesting, curious title. So we want to talk to Gianni about that, but we also want to ask him about his CopperBank. It is a sponsor of this show. It trades in Canada under the symbol CBK. Traded very low price, around 4 or 5 cents. It also trades in Frankfurt as well, 134 million shares outstanding. So it is a market cap of only around $5 million. But I think it's a very interesting concept. You know what they say, buy them when no one else wants them. And the great investors usually find a way to find value, to buy value at prices that are unbelievably low. At least when you look back in time, that turns out to be the case. And so I want to thank you, Gianni, for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jay.
It's really interesting. As I say, I don't know that many people. I don't travel in those circles. I'm a pretty middle-class guy myself. But people that drive Porsches, I don't know many, but I can't imagine too many electricians being able to drive Porsches. So I want to ask, it's a curious title for your book, but tell us, first of all, before we get to that, why did you create CopperBank, and tell us how you plan to profit from it?
Yeah, that's a good question, Jay. And CopperBank was created by myself and a group of investors who have traditionally supported copper exploration companies. We all know that exploration is not being rewarded in this market. Furthermore, you're able to buy research and drilling at pennies on the dollar. So why even bother going and doing the work when you can just buy it? It's already done. And people have done high-quality work. There's results. So what we're doing with CopperBank is we are creating a transactional depository of high-quality copper projects, just as the name implies. And this is a project that was financed by me and my group. This was not a broadly, something that was broadcast to the street. So it was a few people that put significant amounts of capital together. We raised $1.6 million for the idea, which is kind of a medium number, simply because we don't spend money per se. We're not undertaking any work commitments. We have no staff. We have no office. All we're doing is purchasing projects that are 100% owned or are optioned for 100%, that simply require people to, hold them in these bad markets. And that's what we're doing. We currently have 2 projects, and we are going to be aggressively analyzing and hoping to acquire more projects in 2015 and beyond until the market turns.
Well, I mean, in some ways, then you're probably not eager for a turn-up. If the longer the copper price stays depressed, the more opportunities there probably will be, right?
That's exactly correct. So for the company does have assets right now, and our flagship project is called Contact. It's in Nevada. We owned it 100%, and this project is at the PFS level. So there's a high level of confidence on the work that's already been done there, and there is a net present value that people can associate with the project. So just to highlight the value in CopperBank, when we did the IPO at 10 cents a share, it implied a market cap of $13 million, and we were one of the cheapest copper companies listed in Canada, just on a pounds in the ground basis. You have to be careful on how you classify these things, because we have reserves, resources, measured, indicated, and inferred. But if you were to, in all category pounds in the ground, we IPO'd at 1/3 of 1 penny per pound in the ground. So with the share price now trading around 4 or 5 cents. Remember, we're supporting the company. Insiders are buying almost every share at this level. So I encourage people to look at the insider filings, and we're effectively in these bad markets buying, tired, worn-out shareholders that were always a seller, and the price is trading here around 4 or 5 cents to make that exchange take place. So at this level, the market cap is around $6 million, $5 or $6 million.
Mm-hmm.
Companies trading around 1/10 of 1 penny per pound in the ground.
Mm.
So, just a tremendous value, lots of upside, and with assets that, and just to reiterate our, contact in particular, 100% owned. So the company is always anchored by that flagship asset. And if we look when the markets were healthier, the transactions that took place in the copper space, as you know, happened between 3 and 10 cents a pound in the ground,
mm-hmm.
depending on a lot of variables, infrastructure and jurisdiction, so on and so forth. So we're trading at 1/10 of 1 penny. So you can see where the disconnect is. And that's what we're buying. And that's what we're going to continue to buy. That CopperBank wants to be a warehouse of other projects, and there's things certainly in our crosshairs, and we'd like to say that the projects that we're looking for are places that we would be comfortable sending our children to go work at. So we're not going to go anywhere too exotic. We're going to stick to our knitting. We are located in Vancouver, Canada, and so I think British Columbia and the traditional sort of copper areas are within our crosshairs.
Yeah. So you have a project in Alaska, I believe, called the Pyramid, and also another one, the San Diego Bay project. I guess they're not as far along as your contact property.
No, that's correct. Those are Pyramid, which is located on the Aleutian Islands in Alaska, near Tidewater, and it's on private land. So it does not have the sensitivities that Pebble has closer to the mainland. And Pyramid was drilled off by Antofagasta.
Sure.
2 passes of drilling in 2011 and 2012. Very successful drilling. We have an initial inferred resource of around 190 million tons, and this is still open in almost every direction. So it's something that is interesting. Is is sort of a somewhat de-risked project.
Mm-hmm.
Or in better markets, we can look to either further do the drilling ourselves if we can do accretive financings, or probably more likely we would joint venture that project. And then we paid $2.4 million for Pyramid, and there was around $8 million worth of drilling that took place there. So we bought the drilling at a discount.
Sure.
And then we've even got the San Diego project, which is about 7 kilometers east of Pyramid, which is a Tier 1 prospect. This is what Rob McLeod, our chief geologist, says the largest anomaly he's ever seen, 60 square kilometers. So it's something that would be suitable for a major mining company, and we do have people taking a look at San Diego, and that clearly would not be capital out of our treasury. We would be looking to use your traditional joint venture model, other people's money to move that project along, but we don't rely on that.
Right, sure. Well, I believe that your Pyramid prospect also has moly and gold, some moly and gold credits there as well, probably, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, it's probably heavier in moly than it is gold. But we do look at the assets, in the stable that they are predominantly copper. Mm-hmm. There are some things that we're looking at that may have a heavier gold kicker, but certainly it's as the name suggests, for people, and as I like to say, anyone that ever bought into this space and understands the value creation that can take place. If those people understand values, they want to look at, go to our website at CopperBankCorp.com. They can download our presentation, and right in the beginning on, I believe it's page 3, I have a pictorial of 3 gears. So CopperBank is geared for maximum optionality to moves in the copper price on a per pound basis. Mm-hmm. And it has our 5 principles in the company. And I'll just list them for you really quickly here. We have a very low burn rate. We built this company for ourselves. We are true owner-operators. We benefit when the shareholder benefits. We are entirely aligned with our shareholders. When we raised our capital, it was our money, and we set the warrant. There's a full warrant associated with that financing. Remember, it was a 10-cent per share financing. We set the warrant at 50 cents a share. That's where we see the value here. Mm-hmm. And when you look at it with the current valuation, as I've mentioned a couple times, trading at around 1/10 of a penny per pound on the ground, you can see where this, what we say, massive optionality to copper prices on a pounds in the ground basis. And then we want to offer people a diversified multi-asset base. We have projects at various levels of de-risking, contact at the PFS level, the pre-feasibility level, that is. Pyramid, which has an inferred resource. San Diego's a prospect, and we are actively looking for more projects to put in our in the bank, for this very accretive model that we have. Whether we have 3 projects or 5 or 6, our low-cost model, it doesn't change. Our team can manage these assets because we are not doing any work programs at this time. And most importantly,
Johnny, let me ask you, how far are you prepared to take these projects yourself? I mean, you mentioned in your second Alaskan project there, the San Diego, that you probably bring in a joint venture partner. That's an earlier stage prospect. But are you going to be a prospect generator model, or how far will you take it yourself? That's one question. And secondly, how much money do you have in the bank now, and how far will that take you? I know you have a very low burn rate, but how soon will you need to raise some more money?
Yeah, so two very good questions. The first question is, yes, we want to have a generative aspect to the company, and that's done through demonstration. So we have that opportunity now. We're working at creating the value for our shareholders, and so yes, we would have truly a transactional depository of established copper projects. So we would hold projects that are further advanced, and we would look to have that generative component to the projects that are prospective, but they don't quite have the results maybe that some of our other projects have. Your second question was cash position. Remember, we raised $1.6 million because it was the capital we needed for a 2-year runway. So the capital that we have right now will last us until approximately the middle of 2016. So to answer it specifically, we have around $600,000, but most of our 2015 costs are already sunk. They're already sunk costs. So the cash that we have will last. And remember, this is capital that we are very mindful of dilution. The company does have, it has 130 million shares outstanding, trading around 4 or 5 cents, and this share count is something that we do want this to be a proxy on copper prices. We want this stock to trade, and branding this and getting it out to the market. We've only been, live for about 3 months now. Eventually, we feel that this will be adopted as one of the proxies for retail and institutional investors alike, where they can participate and they can do their own calculation. Okay, we have so many pounds right now in all categories. If they invest so many dollars, they have exposure to that many pounds, and that's one way to look at it. So it's very easy arithmetic at that point.
Well, you certainly do have value in the ground, that's for sure. And I've seen this work with a gold company too that I followed in the past, where they bought out of the money projects, and then they were one of the truly big winners once the gold bull market started taking place in the early 2000s. So through the mid 2000s. So I have no doubt that you're going to succeed with this. And of course, the only question is how long do people need to sit with it? But when you're buying some value at such a low price, you have to consider that. I mean, it certainly looks like one way to have some copper exposure and not have to allocate too much of your portfolio right now when the copper price is suppressed. Just a minute or so left here. Tell me a little bit about The Electrician Drives a Porsche. My Electrician Drives a Porsche, your book. Talk to us a little bit about that book.
Yeah, the book is a tremendous success. It's already translated into German. We're going to be putting the book into Mandarin. I have a speaking bureau that represents me for public speaking engagements. All these things, collateral. You get the collective benefit to CopperBank because that is the only company I'm working with. And so when I'm working with my book, they work together. Now, in a nutshell, the book is about a younger electrician who enlightens his family doctor how the world has changed technologically and demographically. And of course, as he's surprised with this younger electrician who has the wherewithal to have sort of figured this out, that everything, up here is either grown or mined. And of course, the emerging markets, they're not going to stop. So slowly, the doctor becomes a savvy contrarian investor, and they eventually take a train ride across China, his first international trip, and he himself becomes this enlightened, participant in the longest trend in history, and in particular this emerging market trend, which I don't think is going to stop for another sort of 20 or 30 years. And the book is doing very well, so people can pick it up on Amazon. Just look it up. My electrician drives a Porsche, and I'm more than certain they'll be delighted, and perhaps they'll see me at a major conference in the near future. I'm more than happy to speak to anyone, and they can look me up on my travel schedule on my own personal website.
Yeah, and again, your website, the company website is, give that to us again.
CopperBankCorp.com. The symbol on the Canadian Stock Exchange is CBK, Charlie Bravo Kilo, and we will have an OTC cross-listing imminently. That should be, days away. So,
well, I would expect, if some people listening to this show go out and buy the stock, that we will have a gray market symbol and we can buy it. I looked to purchase some shares down here and didn't see a symbol yet, but it's certainly something that I intend to do. So, anything else you'd like to mention before we conclude our discussion today?
No, that's great. No, that's great, Jay. We'll probably be talking in the near future. And
I hope so. To meet up with you at a conference, probably at the PDAC or something, perhaps.
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there in full color. And one final note is that this is the only company I work with. So people, not only are we aligned with shareholders, not only have we financed this company, not only have we built this company for ourselves in a market that is seemingly broken. People know where the value creation is, but also we have a razor sharp focus. This is our company. We built it, and we're gonna see this through. And we are hedged now. If the copper market booms, we have assets. If it continues to fail and be weak, we're able to buy more assets, and we have the strength and the ability to finance.
Well, it's a great story. Thank you very much, Gianni, for being with me today, and look forward to talking to you again sometime in the not-too-distant future.
Thanks so kindly, Jay.